Welcome back. In this video, we'll actually be looking into another vulnerable machine, and that's called the Mr.Robot. Right? You can Google the you can Google for the vulnerable VM. Right? You'll get a lot of resources up there. Yeah, once you download this particular VM, um, you can import it either into a VirtualBox or into VMware workstation. I'm using VMware in this case. The setup is pretty much the same. This is my attack vulnerable machine, the victim, Mr.Robot vulnerable machine, and this is my attacking machine, which is my Kali. Right, both of them are in the same subnet. For now, so that it becomes easy to discover. Right. So the first step is to go ahead and see if my interfaces are all good. I don't see an IP address on my Ethernet 0 interface, so let's fix that. Right, so let's restart the BD service. Sometimes the IP addresses get stuck. So once I do this, you can see that the IP addresses have come back. Great. Now the first step would be to figure out the IP address of my victim machine. How do I do this? Using net discover. Right. Let's hit the net discover. Wait, so as it is scanning through all the IP addresses, there you go, we have got this. So the IP address is 192.168.16.215, right? So what do we do? So once we have done net discover, let's do a nmap to see if any you know uh, do we have any kind of ports open or processes running on this, right? So that is going to be the nmap command, right? So we run nmap. Let's wait for the results. Right, so we have done the nmap, and you can see the ports 80 and 443. So HTTP is open for us, which is very good news. So what we'll do now is let's try to access this on the browser. Right, so it's going to be 192.168.16.219. Let's also see. Okay, I'm not typing this is happening on its own, so it's just like yeah, so there's nothing much we can do here, because everything, there's no page source either. There's just a couple of JavaScripts which is doing the work for us, which is actually displaying all of this. Right, so yeah, so let's there's nothing much we can do from this side, right, for now. So we don't even know what kind of directories exist under this web server. So let's go and fetch that using Derby. Right, so Derby is an interesting tool to do that. So it's probably, so let's do Derby. Let's do Derby HTTP, and think 192.168.16.219. Right, so we run Derby to obtain all the directories and files which are present under this particular web server. Let's wait for a couple of minutes, I think, while it gives me the answers. Yeah, so it's still going on. Let's wait for a couple of more minutes. Yeah, so I think we have what we wanted. I will not continue this because the two resources which are very important for me are this one, right, and the robots.txt, right over here. Okay, so the rest of the ones, because I've already done this exercise before, I forgot that none of the rest of the links were very much useful for me. So I will go and open this, open link. I'll also open the other one, which is robots.txt, which seems to be of important for me, right? So this is pretty good. Great. So let's probably go and close this. Not needed. Not needed. Okay. Yeah. So if you see the robot.txt, you seem to have like two files here. One is a fsociety.dictionary, and this seems to be some text. Let's try to open these and see if we can make use of this in any way. Right. So you paste this here. You run this. Yeah. So you can save this particular file. I'm not sure if I already have an old file here. Let's delete that if I have. That seems to be something. Let's delete that. These are the old ones, right? So yeah, so let's save now. Let's save this particular file, and let's also do the same thing for the other one, which is right. Let's see what this is. Okay, so this is just a flag, or this is just like a key, right? Key one of three. Okay, so that's fine. I mean, we can I don't think we'll be using this anytime, so let's just retain like this. And what is a very big interest for us is the fsociety.dictionary, right? So let's say what this particular file is, right? So I've downloaded it in my downloads folder. So we go down to my downloads folder, right? So let's clear the screen a bit. So we have in my downloads folder, and let's do a probably a vi. Let's open it in the vi, fsociety.dictionary. You can see it's a huge file, and these are the number of lines on it. There seem to be a lot of words which are repeating. So what do you do is, I'll probably create another file which will remove all the repeating words, and we'll have just the unique words, right? So how do we do that? Let's exit from this. So for that, let's cat f society, let's pipe it, let's sort it, and let's sort it unique. Let's get the unique ones, and let's put that into f society, unique probably, right? There we go. So now if I do a vi for, or yeah, or f society unique, you can see that the number of lines is very less. It's just 11,000, right? Earlier it was more than 850,000, I believe, right? So we have removed a lot of the repeating words, which is pretty good, right? Let's exit this again. What do we do next? Now let's use our burp. So we have the burp over here, right? I'm not sure if I have my proxy set up on this, so let's see if we can do that. I think I removed it last time, so let's go to proxy settings. Yeah, so no proxy. Let's do manual proxy configuration 127.0.0.1, right? Yeah, yeah, that looks good. So we have the proxy configuration now. So let's close this. Probably not even needed this, not even needing this. Yeah, so this is what we'll do. So we'll put in a, we'll try to capture or intercept this response. Let's put intercept on. Let's put something like test, right? The username is test, password is also test, right? So put that on. You do that, you can see we intercepted the response. So let's push this to interceptor now. Sorry, repeater. So send this to a repeater. Let's hit a go, right? So when you hit the go, what happened was that you see a response here from the server telling you that it's an invalid username, right? So we need to brute force the username by using a word list. And what word list we are going to use? Basically the dictionary which we just now obtained from the server itself, right? So we are going to use that. Okay, so for the brute forcing that, we are going to use a tool called Hydra, right? Pretty interesting tool, right? So let's do that. Let's go down here, right? So let's brute force it. Pretty easy using the tool. So let's go down to, we are in the downloads already, so let's use Hydra, and the word list is going to be this F society unique, which I just now generated, which has unique set of words, and the password is going to be just test for now, right? Not much of use. We need to mention the IP address of the victim machine, which is this one. Great. So we have the IP address, and then we do is HTTP post, right? Post form it is, right? Again, keyword. Now the next thing is interesting. So if you look here, these are the parameters, right? So these are the parameters. So we have log, password, and wp-submit, right? Hyphen submit. So these are the parameters which we will be sending here as well to the Hydra tool, right? Or we'll be mentioning in the Hydra tool, right? Because those are the parameters which we are trying to brute force, right? So we are going to write it in a way, something of this sort. Right, I'll explain to you. So this is basically how do we write. So this is the form, right? So this is the uh, page where you access it, wp-login. So you can see here, right, over here, and the log is basically the username, right? So we are brute forcing the username, telling it to use basically this particular file. For password, you're basically telling it to use this test word here, and wp-submit is anyway the we are going to retain that as it is, right, from here, right? Login. And what else should we need to write in this command? So basically we also need to write the error message, right? So when if you look here on the right side, paste this. So if you look here on the right side, we got an error. It said invalid username, right? So we need to tell Hydra that what kind of error message is seen whenever the username it tries to brute force is invalid, right? So in this case the error is basically invalid username, so I'm gonna mention that as well, right? So whenever you get a response which is not invalid username, Hydra realizes that it has correctly brute forced it, right? So now let's hit the enter. So this process would take some time, probably take 3 to 4 minutes, because I'm not running a very powerful machine. So I'll just pause the recording here, and we will pick it up once the results are obtained. The process is completed, and Hydra has provided us with 3 usernames, right? So let's pick one, the first one being Elliot. Let's use that. So let's replace this test here and with Elliot, right? Hit the go button, and you can see here the error message has changed. Now the error is no more invalid username, instead it is invalid or the password is incorrect. So we need to do the same exercise of um, brute forcing, but the password now, right? Great. So let's go back here, let's stop this, and let's brute force the password, right? So the same process, we start with Hydra. The username here is Elliot, right? And the password is going to be brute forced, and we're going to use this particular file, right? The unique dictionary words which we found, right? The rest of the things is going to be the same. So let's be a lot of it is going to be same. Let's pick it up from here until here. It's going to be the same, so which we did earlier. Paste it, and the only thing which we have to do is figure out what could be the error message. So just like how we wrote invalid username here, right? Where did we do that? We did here invalid username. So here it's going to be different. Here it's going to be the password, it's something related to password. So let's just use this is incorrect, right? I think that should be enough. Hydra will be able to figure it out, right? So let's just tell Hydra that if you end up with the wrong password, this is how the error message looks, right? Now let's hit the enter again. So this process again takes a couple of minutes, so let me pause it, and once the results are out, we will continue from there. All right, completed, and you can see that Hydra picked up one particular password here, right? So let's try to use this now. go back to our browser, and let's replace this and let's paste this. As a username is Elliot, right? And there you go. Are we able to log in? Let's turn off my burp suit, probably that's why. Let's turn the intercept off, and there you go, we are able to log in, right? On the right side you can see howdy Elliot Anderson, which means the login was successful. Great. What is the next step? So now we need to inject a reverse shell, right, so that we get access to the system. So after doing some tinkering, I found out that you go to appearance, you go to editor over here, right? You can inject some text right here, because these are nothing but you have a lot of templates, you have a lot of themes here, so we can inject a lot of themes. You can inject text, right? So this is, you can just click on this and you can inject stuff. So what we'll do is we'll quickly go down on the internet and find this reverse shell, which I got it from the internet. So let's take this, let's go down to the internet here, right? So this is the reverse shell, right? So you can go down to pentest monkey and download this, right? So we have downloaded. Let's probably extract it right in the downloads folder. Great. Probably let's even open the file. Let's go down to downloads, let's go here, let's open this particular file. Let's open it with the text editor. Right, so we open it in text editor, which is good. The only change we'll have to do here is replace this with the IP address, which is of importance for us, 192.168.16.215. So that is, this is the IP address of my Kali machine, right? So we have to finally give the reverse shell back to the Kali machine. So if you do ifconfigure, you can see it's 192.168.16.215, right? So I'm gonna put in that IP address. The port is, let's use 4444, right? So that's the port. So now if I do this Control A, and let's gonna copy this, let's paste it here. Where do we paste this? Over here, right? So let's delete this and let's paste it here, right? So there you go, and let's update this file. Perfect. Now what do we do next? We go to 192.16.404.php, right? So before I hit the enter button, what I'll do is, let me create a reverse shell on my machine here, right? So let's create a reverse shell. So the reverse shell is going to be, how do we create a reverse shell? Using netcat, right? Netcat nlvp, sorry, and the port number, right? So this is my reverse shell, which is ready. So what I'll do now is, let me hit the enter button here, right? So when I hit the enter, you can see I have got the shell. I've got the shell access. So we were able to successfully inject a PHP script, right? PHP reverse shell into my WordPress, and I showed you where you can do that. And once you did that, you got this. Perfect. Now let's spawn a TTY shell, like, because I told you that in the previous videos as well. This shell, probably this is not a, you can't access TTY. It's not a TTY shell. So let's spawn a TTY shell using this command. So now we have the TTY shell. What do we do? So let's go down to, let's see where we are, or let's see pwd. Okay, let's go down to home, right? What do we have inside the home? We have robot. So let's go inside robot. Okay, and yeah, so we are inside robot. Let's see what is there inside robot. So we have two files. Let's try to cat the key file. Okay, so it says permission denied, which means I need to be in root for doing that. And let's also see what is this password file, right? So there's a password file, and there is some kind of a hash here, right? So which we can, so this seems to be like a password file for a particular user called robot, and his password seems to be hashed in this format. So we have to obtain the password from this hash. How do we use that? How do we do that? You can use hashcat for that, right? So what did we realize? We got the TTY shell, but then we realized we are not the root, right? We can't do sudo here, right? We can't do sudo because we don't know the password, right? So we don't know the password. So we need to figure out a particular user who has root access, right? And in the password file we found that there seems to be a user who's robot and the password seems to be hashed here. So let's try to obtain the password from this hash. How do we do that? Using a tool called hashcat, right? So for doing that, hashcat, I already have installed hashcat on my local system Mac, so I'm gonna use that, right? So let's go down to this folder called hashcat, right? So what do we have inside this? We have a file called hash easy, right, where I have actually pasted the code or pasted the hash which I just now got, right? So this is the hash. So you create a file, right, and you can paste the hash inside that, right? So that's good. And we'll use the hashcat here. So we'll use hashcat hyphen a, right, and then hyphen m is another variable, and let's let's give the file name which is hash easy. And the next is I need to use a rocku.txt, right? So this is basically like for a brute forcing, it's a word list. Basically you can download it from the internet, just search for word list called rocku and you will get it. So this is a very interesting word list which will try to basically help us figure out what will be the hash, what will be the password of the hash which we're injecting, right? So let's try to use this rocku here and force command. Okay, so it says show. Okay, so since I had already run it before, it basically told me that there is the hash is already been run for this. If you haven't run this before, the first time when you run this particular command will take few minutes to run and will give you the file, it will give you the password. So in my case you can see here the password is obtained. So this is the hash, and you can see on the right side this is the decrypted kind of a password, right? So we are going to use this password now. Let's copy this and let's come back here. So what we'll do now is let's try to escalate our privileges to root robot, right? And let's put the password as the one which we got just now. There you go. So we have logged in as robot now. So what do we do next? We are still not the root, like we have logged into a user called robot. Let's try to figure out if this particular user has root privileges on any of the files, right? So how do we do that? So we can run this. So we run we'll try to use the find command to see if there are permissions 4000, right, on any of the files, right? So let's run this. So when you run this, I just figured out that there is on nmap, right? So this could be something very interesting for us. So basically robot, the user robot has root privileges on nmap, which is like amazing. So what we'll do is let's stop this. I think we have the results what we wanted. So let's open the nmap interactive shell, right? So go inside nmap interactive. Okay, there was a spelling mistake here. So my bad. Okay, make some mistake. Okay, that's because I just came out of this, right? So I will have to what did I do this? Did I do this outside? Yeah, so I lost the connection, so we'll have to probably have my listener set up again, and let's go to my browser. I just lost the connection, that's it, right? So let's hit this once again. There you go, we got the connection back. Let's spawn the tty shell. So the tty shell again, right? So now we will sudo to robot, right? The password will be something which we obtained here. Okay, so we are inside robot. Nmap is the one which has the root privilege. So let's go inside nmap and inside the interactive shell. So we are inside that. If you do a who am I, you get the root, right? You also can spawn a shell here using exclamation, and there you go, we have the shell. we have to open two of the key files which we were not able to open earlier. So one of them is going to be inside home and inside robot, right? So if you do a ls, you get this file key 2 of 3. Let's try to open this. Can we open this now? Yes, you can, because we are in the root. Let's also open the other one which is inside the root folder itself, which is key 3 of 3. So there you go, we have captured all the flags, right? We are able to open this file, this key as well. So that's a pretty interesting vulnerable VM which we played around with. Hope you guys liked it, and do tune in for more such videos. Thank you.